I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. I'm not sure. I think I'd have rather have seen, personally, I would have rather have seen the title fight. But this is an interesting fight, and there's no one better to break it down a little bit. Can you break down how you think that's going to go and what the skill sets are?
Actually, I wanted to do an official breakdown. I've been getting so many messages. Officially break it down. I've been on the road. I can't do it. So I'm going to do it with you guys here a little bit, okay? I'm going to do it with you guys. You guys are going to get a nice little dose of it. Well, I'll tell you something about Conor. Conor can adapt his style. He fights, and I believe he can fight in many different ways. We've seen him fighting forward, we've seen him fighting backwards, we've seen him adjust his kicking style to the opponent he's fighting. He's really good at adaptation. Diaz fights one way. Diaz fights one way. It doesn't matter if you're a wrestler, it doesn't matter if you're a striker, a clincher. He fights one way. So that's a big advantage for Conor. Conor knows what to expect. Diaz doesn't know as much what to expect. Now, that being said, Diaz has a longer reach. He has a very, very unique punching style, a high volume punching style. Now, Conor is a high volume. Diaz is high volume. So you guys are going to see a fight. This is not going to be one of those slow-paced decisions. This will be a fight, and I give it a 99% chance of being finished one way or the other. 99% chance. I don't see it going to the judges, this fight, because these two guys are going to scrap to the end. I would be shocked if they got into a point-style fight. I'll be horrendously shocked. So, can Diaz absorb that left hand or evade it in the first 2 rounds? I think the first 2 rounds is a big chance of knockout, like Conor's history has always been. He's been knocking guys out. Every single victory comes within 2 rounds. Does Diaz get hit? Yes, he does get hit. He does get hit. He gets in the pocket. He gets nasty. So he will get hit with that left hand. He could go down early. He could go down early, guys. Sorry for the Diaz fans. He could go down early. But if he doesn't, if he somehow survives the early storm, I can't wait to see what happens in round 3 and 4, because we've never seen Conor in rounds 3, 4, and 5. We saw him in Max Holloway, but he out-wrestled Max, brought him to the ground. He had torn his ACL. Yeah. When you tear your ACL, it's hard to strike, because you got to pivot off your knee, and you can't twist and turn. So that fight was a bit of a weird one, because Conor tore his ACL. Diaz gets hit a lot. He gets hit a lot. Conor's really good at hitting. Yeah. It's kind of.
See, there's a lot of people that say Conor only really has one weapon, which is the left hand. But it seems to me what Conor does incredibly well is uses all his other weapons up, so they forget about it, and then they present the opportunity to present itself.
He's got a lot of weapons. He's got. Look, when he tore his ACL with Max Holloway, he took Max Holloway down. And he took him down quite easily, and he passed his guard, and he took care. He has a lot of tools, but what he does is he uses so many tools against you, and then he's got one, I call it the touch of death. He's got that card, and when he's ready to lay it down on the table, he will lay it down on the table. But if he was a one-trick pony, he'd be easier to avoid. Guys would have made it out of the first 2 rounds more often. It's because he's so tricky in so many other rounds. You're defending so many different styles of attack that left hand, he corrals you towards that left hand. So does Diaz get hit? Yes, he gets hit a lot. Can he make his way out of the first 2 rounds? I believe he can. It's possible. He's bigger. It's a welterweight fight. There's so many X factors. So for me, the first 2 rounds are super dangerous for Diaz. The rounds after that, we really don't know what to expect, And Diaz has got the heart. He's got the guts. He's got the toughness. But again, that left hand, man.
We would speak about Conor for a second, because, in terms of kind of how your athletes portray themselves and how Conor has chosen to portray himself, it's almost polar opposites. Is there a place, do you feel there's a place for the talkers like Conor McGregor? Do you think that sometimes it detracts from...
I tell my fighters this: if you have that naturally in you, don't make it fake. If it's really who you are, there's nothing wrong with being who you are. But there's a line you shouldn't cross. You shouldn't insult people. So if you have that charisma and you can pick a fight. And look, the truth of the matter is, I'm happy to see Conor break records. It's making the sport bigger, and I encourage him. If he gets paid $100 million, that's great for all of us. Yeah. I honestly wish him it. I honestly wish it. Why? Because when people tell me, they're upset they heard Sage gets paid this much, good for him. That means he's blowing up the roof. He's blowing up the lines. He's making he's shifting the lines higher up. When McGregor gets the big paydays, when Aldo, we should encourage them, move forward. It's good for everybody. Yeah. You should not be upset when you hear somebody's getting paid big bucks. Yep. That just means there's more money in our business. So for me, I encourage it. Conor has that natural ability to talk. Yeah. What would boxing be if Muhammad Ali kept quiet? Yeah. Where would boxing be? Yeah. if you have it in you naturally, use it. I just think you shouldn't cross the line. There's things you shouldn't say, like don't make it personally and insult a person, his race or his nationality. I wouldn't go that far. I think there's a line. There is a line.
Do you think that's actively part of Conor's game plan? Because all of his opponents so far have said he's not in my head, and quite frankly, you find it hard watching even as they perform. I find it hard to believe you're not thinking about the things he said. Do you think that there's a part of a strategy there?
I think so, but it depends on the fighter. Like George, when you talk trash, it makes him more motivated because he was so bullied when he was young. You're reviving these old memories of him, and he's like a robotic killer when it comes to bullies. Like if you so for some guys it crushes them mentally, and for some guys it fuels them. Diaz, I think, is going to fuel him. I think he's been in that world too long, Diaz, that it's going to fuel him. But again, it's Conor's natural way. So I think he's just being Conor, and that's fine. It's going to make for an exciting fight. It's going to make for an exciting build-up, and it's going to make our sport bigger.
For the fans, is it a bigger fight than RDA, or was the history that fight with Dos Anjos could potentially have made means that this fight can't possibly be as big? What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. For me, because I'm so into the MMA and all that. For me, it's the equals. Like I'm glued to the set. Either guy he fights. I think if they had more time to build it up, I think the Diaz fight could be more big because of all the build-up, because of all the talk. I just looked at the promo and I was so hyped. They crossed out Dos Anjos' name and they spray painted Diaz. Listen, I am not gonna miss this fight. I'm not gonna miss this fight. I would have missed the Dos Anjos fight, but I could see the fans being even more intrigued with the back and forth because Dos Anjos was more quiet and reserved. And but Diaz is not gonna sit back. Diaz is gonna fly. He's gonna pull out the fingers. He's gonna start slapping. He's gonna get in Conor's face. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw down before the event. It's too loose cannon. So we'll see, man. I think in the short period they can build it up even more.